I'm Stacy Grinsfelder.
And I'm Daniel Panter.
And this is True Tales from Old Houses, another Minisode.
Minisode number 2. Right in your ears.
Hi, Daniel.
Hey, Stacy, what's up?
Well, I'm glad to be back to do another Minisode. I have to be really honest with you. When we did that first Minisode, I was nervous about how it was going to be received. Did you feel that way at all, or were you just completely chill about it?
I feel pretty chill. I'm too medicated to feel anything other than pretty chill about it. So I was like, it's fun. But I think I don't know, I've just been so on the internet I started my blog in 2010. So I've just been sort of used to spilling my guts a little bit. I have no problem with it anymore. I don't know.
Well, I didn't think I had a problem with it, to be real honest with you, because I've been blogging too for a long time. Well, not as long as you, but 2014. And I guess I haven't gotten super duper personal on that. There are a lot of things I keep kind of close to the vest, even though I seem like an open book to almost everybody. But I don't know. I got nervous all of a sudden. I thought, I'm used to telling other people's stories. You know, the podcast started in
Right.
2018, and I'm just here to facilitate other people's stories. So to kind of dive into my own in an extended format, even though it was a minisode, it just felt really strange to me. But I think the feedback we've gotten so far has been positive.
Yeah, everyone was really nice about it and seemed to like it, which made me very happy. And yeah, I mean, my experience honestly has been that whenever I have felt like, oh, is this an overshare? And I don't know. The voices in my head are always much more negative than anything that actually comes my way from the public or whoever's reading it or looking at it or listening to it in this case.
Honestly, I don't know why I feel that way, because I feel like I have the absolute loveliest followers, and the people who listen to the podcast are just wonderful people. So I don't know why I was even nervous, but I was. And even sitting here today doing the second one, I thought, well, what if we're boring? What if nobody likes it? They'll like it.
Impossible. We are so much fun. Why do I have to keep screaming about it?
Yeah. I was going to say, there's not a boring bone in your body, Daniel, for sure.
Uh, there's a lot of very tired ones, though. We've been keeping busy. I know you've been busy, but I'm not really sure quite with what. What's going on?
I have been gardening. Finally, I think the Nights of Frost
The Knights of Frost.
sound like
It's my romance novel.
a service organization, like, the Masonic Temple or something, the Knights
Right.
of Frost.
I think we should start that. You have to get your hair bleached if you're going to do it.
But I think it should be a service organization for gardening. What do you think?
I feel like I could use that.
Okay, so anyway, our nights with temperatures below freezing.
Oh, Knights of Frost.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to do this.
Let it out, Stacy.
Okay. Oh, I think I'm turning purple. I'm crying now. All right. So anyway, nights of sub-zero or sub-freezing temperature are over.
Yes.
Let me try that again.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Our nights of sub-freezing temperatures are over. And now I think it's safe to plant.
Yeah.
And because of that, I went and I bought a few gardening tools today. And I'm not a good gardener. Gardening is not something that I do well. I put some effort into it every year for about 2 weeks, and then I'm done. That's it.
I would not have guessed this having been to your house. You have such nice landscaping.
Oh, well, that was kind of a thing I started last year, because when we moved into the house, all I did was stuff inside. I did things on the outside, painting, windows, that kind of thing. But I didn't really do any landscaping, and a lot of it got trashed when we got a new roof. And so last year, I spent a lot of time and money on perennials and on native plants, and I just put them in the ground, and I chose plants based on the fact that I would not have to do anything to them for the most part. Put them in the ground, walk away, and pretend they don't exist.
This is my gardening style as well. Yes, tell me more.
We have that in common.
We're so the same.
We are the same in so many ways, but I do have 2 raised garden beds, and I throw usually tomatoes in there, some basil, maybe a cucumber, and if I get cucumbers, tomato, and basil, then I am a happy person. If I have to put much effort into it, I didn't need tomatoes, cucumbers, and basil.
That's a great salad, though.
It is, yeah.
Do you like it or you just don't? How do you feel about it?
I think my thing is that I am nurturing people and I am nurturing
Mhm.
a dog, and I just don't have the bandwidth to nurture anything else. It's not that I don't like it, it's that I don't want to take the time to do it, I guess.
Mhm. That makes total sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of very much the same way in the way that I take a survival of the fittest approach with my plants.
I like
So
that.
if you don't survive a summer without watering, you're both literally dead and dead to me because it ain't happening. Yeah, I mean, if we're going through like a crazy drought, like, oh, water maybe, but generally it's you got to cut it yourself or I simply can't help you, little plant. But I've been gardening a ton. I also went to the hardware store today and I didn't buy tools, I bought plants, which I've been trying to not do. I guess we've taken a slightly different approach here. When I bought my house, there was like nothing. There was like a little bit of hosta, a little bit of iris, a bunch of daylilies, which I hate, and a couple very sickly rhododendrons, which are now dead. And so I actually planted a fair amount of stuff that first summer, and that's when I started like splitting the hostas and putting them in, and now it's gardens are a very, I don't know, tactile way to like mark time, I think. So now it's been 10 years in like a couple weeks, and so these little tiny, like $6 boxwoods I planted, I just dug up and moved all of them, and they're like as big as me.
Oh my goodness.
It was very difficult, but
Yeah.
I don't know. This is not what any real gardener I think would recommend, but my approach was basically I don't really know like what I want or where I want, but I'm just gonna like buy stuff that I kind of know I like, put it in the ground, and like I can move it later. And
Hmm.
my attitude towards transplanting is kind of the same as growing in the first place. It's like if you don't survive, I mean, sorry.
So the two sides of my house that face the public. So I have one side that faces my neighbor, but it's very visible from the street, and
Right.
then the other side faces the street. And the side that faces my neighbor, but it's very visible, gets intense sunlight. And the other side that doesn't gets almost complete shade. It feels impossible to find plants that to bridge those two differences. And I actually
Hmm.
have a funny transplanting story because I love hydrangeas. So this is the first place I've
Me
ever lived.
too.
Yeah, they're so beautiful.
I bought 3 of them today.
Did
That's what
you?
I bought. Yeah.
It's the first place I've ever lived where I can grow them with there's enough water that I don't have to water them or feel guilty or anything. I never grew them out west because it was just silly to waste that much water growing something that's not meant to be there. And
Right.
so I put this hydrangea in one spot and then I realized, oh, I think I want it in a different spot. So the next year we dug it up and moved it. And then it started getting really big. So I started asking my son, I said, can you come out and help me move the hydrangea? So I moved it to another place and it was too sunny. So then it wilted all summer. So the next year it
Hmm.
came out and I moved it again. And then finally, after four different moves, it settled in there and I said, oh, it looks so good here. I think we'll leave it. And my son said, what? You mean we don't have to move it every year? He said, I just thought you moved the plant every year because you were supposed to. And I said,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
that is my
That's
planting
really adorable.
incompetence. I thought that was pretty cute too. Yes.
I don't think that's incompetence. I think I bought these hydrangeas a few years ago and then I just didn't. So they just sat in their pots over the winter, somehow survived, came back, I put them in the ground, then I just moved them again. But they're fine.
It's so
I
funny
think.
that you said that because I bought mail order hydrangeas. I got all excited and I
Hmm.
bought five, I think. I bought five. And then I never planted them that summer. And so then I just left them in the pots. And then I thought, oh my gosh, they're dead. They're totally dead. Like, why did I do that? What a waste of money. I never got them in the ground. And then slowly but surely they started coming back to life, in the little pots. You see the tiny little bit
Hmm.
of green. So now last year I planted them. It was 2 years ago that I bought them and didn't plant them. But last year I planted them and they're looking really good so far. So
They're
far, so good.
thriving. That's
Yeah.
great.
They're
That's
tiny,
great.
but they're growing.
So you're going to be gardening all summer. Your favorite
No.
activity. No.
Actually, no. My summer plans, out of my control, my summer plans got changed. I did tell people on Instagram and I did write it in my blog if anybody reads the blog, but I actually have to have a pretty major surgery at the end of June, and
Mhm.
that will require 12 weeks of rest. 12 weeks
Oh,
where I
wow.
can't exercise, I can't lift anything, I can't move my body in any ways that could put unnatural stress on any part of it
Right,
for
right.
12 full weeks. And I actually thought the recovery was going to be 6 weeks. And I was like, I can do that. And I was talking to my surgeon. I said, well, it won't be that bad. It'll be 6 weeks. I'd kind of gotten my head wrapped around that. And she said, oh, Stacy, it's going to be 12 weeks.
It's a long time because you're a very active
I
person.
am.
Can I just interject really fast? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
ha do we have to worry about you? Are we okay? You're okay, right?
There is a biopsy involved. They tried to get a biopsy in advance. They were unable to do that. So I will get a biopsy at the same time that I'm having surgery. And if the biopsy's negative, then 12 weeks, I'm good to go. If the biopsy is positive, then that's another story altogether. And honestly, I haven't even gone there in my head.
Yeah,
I guess
let's not.
yeah, let's not. I have no doubt that if it's positive, we're just going to move through whatever the universe requires of me, the doctors and medical community. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm expecting it to be negative, and then in 12 weeks hopefully I'll feel better. I can't imagine that 12 weeks there's going to be like a switch and all of a sudden I'm going to be old Stacy again, but
Right.
hopefully I'll be moving in that direction. And the point of all of that was not so you could all feel sorry for me or feel sad for me, but my summer plans are different. All the things that I thought I would be doing to get this house ready to put on the market next March, I'm out 3 months. And I lose all the warm weather for the most part. I'll have like
Right.
maybe 4 weeks of warm weather. So I recently called Chris, the guy who did the tile in the guest bathroom, the good tiler, not the terrible, horrible, no good, rotten contractor that screwed that whole project up.
He did a great job.
He did. He did. And I called him and asked him, because we've been going back and forth about doing the big bathroom upstairs, doing that project. Do we do it? Do we not do it before we sell? What do we do? And about every other week, I'd sort of flip flop. And then finally, Andy and I had a conversation and decided that we were just going to do it. But I won't physically be able to do any of those things. And I won't have the time to do those things in the fall and winter. And I don't want to count on the fact that my physical stamina will be 100% by
Sure.
that time. I hope it will, but I don't want to count on that. So I called Chris
Hmm.
and he's going to use the plumber that I use that I really like too. It's his cousin. They're going to come in and bid that project and figure out what to do. And I think we're just going to do it. We're not going to probably get 100% back on it, maybe. I don't know. It's not going to be a huge project. It's the plumbing will be the most expensive part, I think. And
Now wait, I should know this. Is this the bathroom I showered in with the clawfoot?
yes, yes,
Oh,
it
okay.
is.
I know this bathroom. Intimately familiar.
There's no ensuite. So that big bathroom is really the main bathroom that has to look nice and function great. And right now there is very little function. It looks okay. It's fine.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. But for this, since this house has 6 bedrooms, I'm guessing that the people who buy it might have a family. They might appreciate a high functioning bathroom. And so we want to do a freestanding shower and then still keep the tub because it'll be the only bathtub in the house. And most people want at least one tub. And then actually take that marble sink out. I know everybody loves that and I love it too, but it's not great. It's not great. So I'd like to put a vanity in there for some storage, towels and toiletries and all
Oh,
that stuff,
sure.
because we really don't
Yeah.
have that. The tub will go, right now I have a big kind of freestanding cabinet, but the tub will go there and then our storage will be completely gone. So I have some ideas.
Oh, so we kind of flip where the tub is, put a shower more or
Hmm.
less where the tub is,
Yeah.
okay, that'll be really
Yeah.
nice.
So the tub and shower will run parallel to each other. The sink will be gone. It'll be a vanity instead. And then the toilet will stay where it is. And then I can put some sort of cabinet between the tub and the shower, probably. something
Uh-huh.
freestanding if people want to do have towels and things. And then there'll be a whole wall. I guess this is kind of hard to explain on the podcast, but anyway,
We'll put a floor plan in the show notes. I don't know.
yeah. Anyway, I have some ideas to increase function. That was a long, long story, wasn't it?
I mean, that'll be a new experience for you to sort of project manage.
Yeah, it'll be really strange because I thought that's what I was getting into with the bad contractor and the guest bathroom, but that didn't end up being the case. But fortunately, Chris and the plumber, they're wonderful.
They did a beautiful job in the guest bathroom, but it's really smart. I just realized because you have a walk-in shower in this super creepy basement bathroom that no one's
Yes,
ever going to
that's
use,
horrible. No, don't go there.
and now you have a walk-in shower upstairs, but it's off of like a guest room. So it's really smart, I think, to add one in that like main bathroom because that's kind of what everyone uses unless you are staying in that one room, right?
Yeah, I think it would be weird if we didn't have that there and people had to traipse through a bedroom to go use the shower. I think that's kind of strange.
Yeah, I feel like I maybe made a misstep in the cottage, my little cottage house. I put a clawfoot tub in, and there's not really space to do both. I mean, honestly, if I laid it out better, there probably would have been, but I didn't. And can I admit that I'm not sure I ever showered in a clawfoot until the lake house, Brad's lake house.
What'd you think?
I get the kind of common complaint that it's a little constricting with the curtain. Like people are, I think, get really dramatic about it. Like, it sticks to your body all over. I'm like, what are we doing in there? But, I think it is true. It's hard to like figure out where to set your things. And
Oh, yeah.
I do get the kind of common critiques. And I think in my case, I don't know if you have situations like this in the past, but it was such a like, I think they call it sunk cost fallacy. It's like people who like join multi-level marketing schemes and, it's $5,000 to get in and then you lose money, but you throw another 5,000 at it because maybe something different will happen or whatever. You just have to keep spending and you'll make more. And like, so that tub, I didn't want a clawfoot actually. Originally, I was thinking I would do like a corner tub, but I could not for the life of me find a corner tub with the drain and the finished corner in the right like orientation.
Right.
And so then the plumber, the first plumber, I think that's been like four plumbers on that house, who was terrible, but it was before I knew he was terrible. And he was like, I'm ripping out this clawfoot in this other house. And I was like, oh, let me see. So he showed it to me and he was like, yeah, you can have it for like $400. And I'm kind of like, I mean, you're just ripping it out and getting it for
Right.
free, but all right. So, and it was in really nice condition and everything. So I bought the tub. So then the tub is in the house. And then eventually it made its way upstairs, which you can imagine. I mean, the staircase in that house, I think, is 27 inches wide or something. So we had to like lift it over the banister. Like it was really stressful getting that tub to the second floor. So now it's on the second floor. And like the plumbing's like more or less roughed in. We're sort of past the point of like adding a shower or anything. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, so I just sort of kept doubling down. And now I'm a little like, I hope the buyer likes this or likes baths enough that it's worth the semi awkward showering.
I think they will. Let me tell you, when we moved in this house, Dorothy, I guess, did shower in the scary basement shower, but it has that electrical connection in it in the shower.
That's right. You showed me that.
Immediately, I said, no way, none of us are using that shower. And so we had to take baths for a long time. And when we got that clawfoot conversion kit, that
Hmm.
was life changing for us. We loved it. I mean, everybody could take a shower. So it's not my favorite. Now that I've had the luxury of using a freestanding shower, I'm like, yeah, I want another one of those. Those are much, much nicer. But you were talking about sunk cost fallacy. I know exactly what you're talking about because that's what made me keep paying my terrible contractor because I kept thinking, well, at some point, I've put in so much money. At some point, we're going to get a bathroom out of this, and then we just never got a bathroom out of it.
That was the guest bath, right?
That was the guest bath.
I get it. I just kind of broke up with my contractor, which was very sad. I realized, kind of looking back, that there was sort of a slow and long decline in that relationship. I'm talking about it like this is my husband. It's not. But
But a good contractor is hard to find. It is a
well,
relationship.
right. And when that good contractor becomes like a totally so-so contractor, it's like, or an actively bad contractor, I think it's easy to just sort of stick with like the devil you know, than like, at least I know kind of what I'm getting. And finding a new person feels like such a big gamble. And,
Right.
it's that to me is really stressful. So, oof, I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. I guess just that painful thing of like, if I just keep going down this road, I'll get a better result or something, and it rarely goes that way, I guess. So I in a way I'm happy it happened because it did sort of force me to go out and try to find somebody else to take on this job that I expected him to do, and I found someone great, and now I
Good.
have this guy that I adore. I don't really know like what his kind of full skill set is, but loved him.
And isn't that a relief when you have somebody that you can count on? I mean, I just feel like
Yes.
it's such a
Yes.
weight lifted because it's so stressful. Just even making the calls to get bids, to have people come by, that is just a whole
Oh, a
thing.
1000%.
Yeah. But it is funny. We mentioned that it's not funny. I'm sorry. We mentioned this in a regular episode, I think, when we were at Susan and Will's last fall. I think it was that episode. You and I were talking about finding a good contractor. And I just always feel like I need to say that I've had more good people helping me than bad over the years. It's just that it's hard to get over those bad ones. But I think it's still worth it if a person needs help to go and get it, not to be too afraid to get help, I guess. That's probably true for
In
many
many ways.
things. Yes.
Right. We love therapy too. Well, I don't, I do. But I think when this thing recently just happened where it was a drywall job. And so I have been with this same person for so long that like I don't have anyone else. So I hopped on Nextdoor, which actually had a I know, but it actually if you just use that search function and don't really get into like whatever drama is happening, there were actually a lot of recommendations for specifically contractors who do sheetrock work. So I wrote down I think like 12 or 15 like names and numbers, and then I just stared at that list. And then I called my friend Annie and I was like, do you have someone? And she recommended somebody. And I never called any of those other people because I was like, that just seems hard and I don't want to. So
Right.
thank you, Annie, if you're out there. Um,
Oh, that's funny.
it's hard stuff to figure out, but I'm glad you have a great guy now. And I love that the plumber is his cousin.
Well, that's how I found him. The plumber recommended him. And I remember thinking to myself, the plumber's name is Dennis. And he said, oh, yeah, you could call my cousin to tile. And I was still in that little headspace, at least in the guest bathroom, where I was like, oh, I don't need to call anybody. I can get this. And then after I got all the subfloor in and all the walls redone and everything, and I thought, you know what? I don't really want to tile. I don't even like tiling. It's probably one of my least favorites. And I've done it several times. And I thought, I don't even want to do this. So I thought, I'll just call and I'll get his bid, and then if it's just something that I just can't pay that or don't want to pay, then I'll go back to it. But turns out it was fine and he did a lovely job, and honestly, I'm sure he saved me 10, 20 headaches.
Yeah. I think we talked about this at the beginning of the season, but my insane tile floor that
Oh
took
yeah.
me like 7 full days to prep for grout. So if it was anything like that, I think you saved yourself like 50 headaches because, oh.
Every time I've done tile too, and I know this is common, this isn't just because I don't do tile every day, but every time it's like that first row. I might spend a whole day just thinking about the first row, trying to make sure that I get the first row started and level, and is it in the middle? And oh, it's just a nightmare. And then cutting it, and oh, no, thank you.
Well, you're quite detail oriented, Stacy. I'm not sure anyone's ever told you that.
Never heard that before.
Never heard
Strange.
it.
No.
Yeah, it's just something I've observed. But it's what makes you good at what you do. And
Well, thank you.
for that, a grateful nation thanks you. I speak for all.
You speak for all. That's nice.
Do you have anything else you want to share? Big news? Small news.
I'm working on my speech for the Missouri Preservation Conference, and I've been laying out all these note cards. It's starting to look like A Beautiful Mind in here. Do you remember that movie?
Yes.
It's weird writing a speech. It's fun in some ways, but it's also a little overwhelming. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. We'll see.
1 hour, right?
1 hour. Yeah, that's pretty long.
That's that's a lot of time to fill.
It is. I'm really excited about it.
I'm so proud of you. It's gonna be great.
Thank you so much.
Are there visual aids involved?
There are. I was working on those today, in fact.
And wait, remind me exactly when this is.
It's June 7th through 9th.
Okay, June 7th through 9th. So you
Yeah.
got a little time to prep.
Got a little time. Yeah.
Look at you being so like on top of it. I'd be like
Well,
June 6th, like I guess I better start my speech. Um, this is why you produce the show.
I'm trying. I am trying to be organized, but yeah, there are many things that take my attention away from it, but I'm working on it. So, how about you? Anything else to leave us with today?
Oh, just to follow up, just because it was so lovely. So I announced that we were seeking some volunteer designers for these upcoming land bank rehabs, and I was so surprised. Like a lot of people, not a lot, it was insane, but a fair number of people, like more than we needed.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We now have designers, and guess who is going to be one of them? Is Christiane Dobson from Catskill Farmhouse.
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, so her and a few other really, really talented people.
Does that take it off your plate now, or will you still have some
It's a
oversight?
different, yeah, I'll have a fair amount of oversight. It's kind of like what you're doing with having people take on work that you're used to taking on. So we're both
Ah,
gonna be, look at
yeah.
that. We're not so different after all. No, but yeah, it really is like I've never I will be now sort of acting more managerial and like overseeing these designers, which honestly I probably have no business overseeing because they're probably all more experienced than I am, but this is the imposter syndrome I
Oh, you're
deal
great.
with.
You're great.
It'll be fine.
Shall we make a pact
Yes, always.
that we will attempt to not micromanage these people with our type A controlling personalities? Can we do it?
Yes, and I think this is going to be an ongoing conversation to keep each other on track because that is very hard for me.
It's hard for me too. I just try to like think of what I want to tell them and then just not actually tell them
Right.
that.
All right, we're both going to approach this as a fun, fresh new experience, and we're going to be great at it.
Let's do
Probably.
it.
Definitely.
Well, we should say goodbye and we will do another Minisode in 2 weeks. What do you say?
Yeah, and a full episode will drop next week. We're podcasting machines. Look at us go.
Thank you for listening to True Tales from Old Houses, the Minisode.
The mini so tiny.
Until next time.
See you next week.